Assalamualaikum, my name is Fatin Elish binti Basri. My metric number is L280011. We are going to explain our research proposal in the title Management of F&B Companies During the COVID-19 Pandemic in Kelantan. The COVID-19 pandemic spread globally and became a real pandemic that has had a significant impact on nearly every country. The F&B industry is one of those suffering from the COVID-19 virus effects on the downturn. To the best of our knowledge, no study has looked at how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected Kelantan's food and beverage business. As a result, this study will be looking into the F&B industry in Kelantan and methods for overcoming those effects. Next, a problem statement. The majority of studies on the disruptive impacts of public health crises have concentrated on humanitarian concerns such as how efficiently food and other forms of aid can be supplied. However, the COVID-19 pandemic and other contemporary outbreaks have had an impact on commercial food and beverage corporations. In order to better understand these effects, this study will look at how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected Kelantan, Malaysia's food and beverage industry. The study's specific objectives are to determine the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on F&B companies in Kelantan and to find out the solutions for handling the COVID-19 pandemic's effects on food and beverage companies in Kelantan. Then the research questions. Firstly, how did the COVID-19 pandemic affect the F&B companies in Kelantan? Secondly, what are the solutions for handling the COVID-19 pandemic's effects on F&B companies in Kelantan? Next, significance of the study. This study is important for both those working in Kelantan's food and beverage industry and for prospective researchers. Firstly, this study will look at the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on food and beverage companies in Kelantan and the solutions for handling the COVID-19 pandemic's effects on these types of companies. In addition, this study will benefit the people in these food and beverage companies as this study comes out with the solutions for the crisis of COVID-19 towards the management of F&B companies. So the people that are involved in this industry can apply these techniques in their businesses to overcome the terrible effects caused by COVID-19 that affected their businesses' management. Hopefully, it will also give motivation for them to improve the affected areas of their business in order to keep their businesses growing as usual. Besides that, this study can be used by the prospective researchers as the foundation for their own research to conduct a study in the future on food and beverage companies in Kelantan, Malaysia. This is because most of the previous research was conducted on food and beverages companies that occurred in other countries such as Bangladesh and Canada. So, this study that focuses on F&B companies in Kelantan may help the prospective researchers who want to conduct a study on this industry in the state of Kelantan. So, they can use this study as a reference for their research. In addition, they also can gain ideas from this study and guide them in conducting the research. This study will be guided by libertarian theory. The theory of the liberal supports independence and freedom of thought. This frame will be applied to study how the COVID-19 pandemic affects the food and beverage companies in Kelantan and the solutions for handling the COVID-19 pandemic's effects on food and beverage companies. In other words, both virtual and non-virtual communication are used to conceptualize the aspiration of libertarian theory. In addition, we will use open-ended questions on both the offline and online interview to allow the respondents to freely comment or answer the question or issue.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I bid to Prof. Ali. My name is Wan Afrisha Aryani binti Wan Razali and my metric number is L20A0046. For the conceptual framework, the sustainability of the food and beverage business industry in Kelantan during COVID-19 pandemic depends on three factors, which are the strategy used by the F&B company in order to operate during pandemic, government rules and regulation for business, food and beverage in pandemic, and lastly, behavior of F&B business management. Moving on, research methodology is the exact steps or method used to find, pick, process, and analyze information on a subject. The methodology section of a research paper gives the reader the chance to assess the general validity and dependability of a study. For our research in title management of food and beverage company during the COVID-19 pandemic in Kelantan, we choose a qualitative method to carry out our research. Approach, the kind of approach that we use while conducting the research is a qualitative approach because we want to have the opportunity and chance to follow up with the respondent in the real time, which cannot be done using the structured survey because it cannot give enough space for the respondent to freely give their opinion. Place of study. The study takes place in Kelantan. We will focus more on Kelantan, specifically Kota Bharu, because we have interest in finding out the extent of the effect of COVID-19 to a state that is famous for the saying heaven of food, as the state can be considered successful in the food and beverage business industry. We want to see how they manage their business in order to prevent any more losses. Because during COVID-19, there are a lot of requirements that the owner have to meet before being allowed to operate during COVID-19. They are also not allowed to carry a direct purchase with a customer. Population and sample. The population in this research is food and beverage businesses owner or representative around Kota Bharu, Kelantan. The criteria for the offline business that we will interview have been operating for 5 years minimum and still operating during the movement control order. We will choose 5 food and beverage company as our sample for offline interview. As for the online business, we decided to carry a survey through Google Form application. The criteria for the online business that we seek for are valid accounts, social media that has feedback from customers, has been operating for 5 years minimum, do not have any physical premises, and we will choose 5 food and beverage company to represent the online food and beverage business. Instrumentation. For the instrumentation, we will use a qualitative method to conduct our research since it allows the respondent to give their opinion without being needed to obey the structural question. Qualitative method. To better comprehend thoughts, opinion or experience, qualitative research involves collecting and processing non-numerical data such as text, video or audio. It can be used to uncover intricate details about a situation or to inspire new research concepts. Data collection. As for the data collection, we will use open-ended question on both the online and offline interview to allow the respondent to freely comment or answer the question or issue. The question that we will ask to the food and beverage business representative are: Number 1, did you find it hard to keep operating the food and beverage business during COVID-19 pandemic? Number 2, how long do you take to figure out the solution to keep operating when the government of Malaysia decided to restrain the direct purchase by not allowing customers to dine in? Number 3 is the amount of orders per day affected by COVID-19. Number 4, how long did it take for both you as the owner of the food and beverage business and the customer to get used to the new norm of not allowing dine-in? State the reason why. Number 5, when pandemic shift to endemic, do you still consider continuing the online purchase method? Number 6, what is the strategy used by your company to sustain your business? I think that it's all from me. Thank you so much for lending your ears and time.